Get ready to get ready.
Coming to you live from the MFG studios
In the heart of America's summer golf capital, we help you play better golf. It's time to get your game on.
and take it deep.
This is the Mike Fay Golf Show.
Here's your host, Mike Fay.
So, tonight, what I wanted to talk about with James is he is very, very good at, let's say, working with parents of student athletes. And I thought it would be fun tonight for everybody to put in some questions for James about how to handle student athletes and how to be a good parent and things like that tonight. What do you think, Brent? You had some questions about that.
Yeah, I'm really keen as a father of a son as well who plays every sport except golf at the moment. If you had a child that had a bit of talent and showed a bit of potential, and you got him involved in a junior program, how do you encourage that? How do you not overstep your bounds as a parent, but how do you keep that encouragement going and help that child improve?
Well, it's a good question. I think that as a parent, what you probably have to do is you have to do a little bit of research, because especially as you mentioned, if your child has some talent, you want somebody that knows how to nurture that. And that can be anything from lessons to instruction on the golf course. And I know a lot of times what could happen is we could overdo the lessons. And at a young age, you just want them to be on the golf course more and learning how to play, learning how to score. So definitely doing your research, looking for instructors or programs that focus on junior development. You don't want to just go to someone for lessons that doesn't know how to deal with those type of situations, because the instructor is going to eventually, if not right from the start, be the buffer between you and your child. And you also have to be willing to understand that the instructor is going to be telling you maybe you shouldn't be here right now, or maybe you kind of pushed it a little bit too hard in this area, or you need to do more in that area. So you definitely want to find someone that you can communicate with easily.
Okay, so as a parent, a good guide could be to spend more time with them on the golf course as opposed to trying to teach them. So put them into different situations and say, how would you play this shot, and have some fun that way.
Right, exactly. I think when you're if you as a parent are taking your kids out to the golf course, it's more a case of how would you figure these kind of situations out, turn them into a problem solver rather than just saying, do this, do that, do this, do that, or even looking at it as like, why did you do that? Why did you do that wrong? And just kind of let them figure it out on their own.
Yeah, cool. And if your son is anything like my son, he won't pay attention to you anyway.
Exactly.
It's a touchy situation, isn't it, guys? Definitely, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Frank, you had some questions for James tonight.
Yes, I did. James, I know you have a real fondness for donuts, but I also know that you do some great things with your kids with regards to diet and exercise. And I was wondering if you could talk to our audience a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the kids that are playing a lot. And I tell them this doesn't just happen for golf. This could be for anything. This could be maybe you're studying for a test at school, or you're playing another sport. But being careful with what you're eating in terms of fuel for the round. The Snickers bar is not really the best option for you. Having fruits like bananas or apples, something that will digest slowly, could be something like cinnamon raisin bagel with peanut butter and jelly on it. Definitely staying away from the candy, and something that your body will break down slowly and get a lot of energy from.
Yeah, we want to know what you guys eat on the golf course. What gives you energy besides beer? Trying to play your best, right? So what kind of different things that you guys have on the golf course? Mr. Hellman, do you have anything, sir?
Yeah, I just have one question. I know James had a parents interview meeting last week, I think it was. I just wanted to know how that went and what was the feedback from the parents in talking to them directly. I think a lot of coaches may not do that, which it would be a good thing to do. So if there's any viewers that have any questions that they would, have children in junior programs or they would want to ask. And then what, of course, was James' feedback from the meeting?
Yeah, I just had a parents meeting on Wednesday night. It went very well, and my point of view was with 2019 starting, I wanted to give the parents an idea of what was going on in our winter program and how that was going to carry over into the spring season and the summer as well. And just kind of give them an overview of the programs that are being offered, because this year I was going to make some changes to what we were offering from the past. So I just wanted to highlight them on that. And also we went into some education. So I wanted to tell the parents about what their kids were experiencing through the lessons, and for some of the more experienced kids, how they were progressing in terms of their instruction and their play, and letting the parents know that in reality, that the lessons were probably only about 10% physical and 90% mental. So we went into a lot of the details. A lot of the discussion was on that. Even to the point of, I was very forthright with them as a group in saying that the kids are under a lot of pressure. They feel like they're letting you down if either they're not doing well in their practices or their lessons, or they're not playing well in junior tournaments. And we talked a lot about how you should be communicating with your children, some of the questions you should be asking, how you're wording it. And I think it went over really well. I got a lot of emails and texts from parents right afterwards saying that they were really happy with it. They were very motivated and enthusiastic for the coming season. And I think what also went over well is they all know that I'm also a parent. I have two sons. And so they can see that I'm very empathetic towards what they're experiencing, especially the ones that don't play golf. So they feel a little bit in a dark room as far as what they should be doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, very, very cool. And that is so important to be able to get the expectations out there of what's going to happen and things like that. And it's very cool that you do all that stuff. We all should be doing that. Any questions at all for James on Facebook Live? Any questions at all? It doesn't have to be about golf. It could be about anything at all. James will be with us for the rest of the show, so it'll be pretty cool. Next topic that we have on here is something that we missed last week because we were pretty busy doing some stuff, and that would be the PGA Tour interview program. And we saw that we saw some interviews going on. I want to know from all of you out there, did you like it? Did you not like it? What is your opinion of players being interviewed right in the middle of the game? We're going to go through some of our opinions, but we want to know from you. Go ahead, Jay. What do you think?
Oh, I'm not really a big fan of it. I think the guys are out there trying to play. I know I see them talking to the commentator at the Sony, I guess, or it was the Tournament Champions. And I think I watched Brooks talk to one of the commentators, but I just think they're in a focus zone. I know, they're trying to break things up in between, but I really don't expect this to happen at the major events. Maybe, I mean, they're doing it at these events, but I just think they're trying to focus and concentrate. I wouldn't. I wonder how many decline is what I guess, and how many accept. I know other people have different views, but I mean, I just think that they're in there and they're inside the ropes, and no one can be inside the ropes for a reason, right? They're trying to focus and concentrate on winning, and winning is really hard out there. So more distractions, maybe it takes away from their focus and their concentration. And who knows? I mean, I'd like to hear from some of the players actually what on this specific question, if they actually like it or they don't like it.
What do you think, Brent?
Well, we had a bit of a chat with Jace back and forth on Twitter the other
Yeah,
day.
we did. Yeah, we did.
And I actually quite like it. In Australia they do it a lot with sports. So we have T20 cricket, who I'm not quite sure if you guys would be across that. Canadians maybe not the guys in the US, but they actually have 2 or 3 players mic'd up during the game, and they'll talk to them between balls, so between pitches for those baseball people, and they'll actually talk as the bowler's coming in the bowl. So it's quite interesting to see what they're planning to do at certain times of the game. So I actually quite like it.
James, what do you think, my friend?
I was thinking about, I remember they started doing that in baseball, and my first reaction at the time was that I was kind of against it because I thought it was disturbing the game. But I found that I started liking it the more they went on, but it also depended on who it was they were interviewing. So if it was someone that didn't mind the interruption, as Jason was talking about, then it was very pleasant. They gave some insight. But I think that if people felt they were doing it just because they had to do it, then you got the basic answers, the very dull answers, and they were just doing it to do it, to get it out of the way, and then go back to the game. So I think that if it's someone on the PGA Tour that can handle that doesn't mind the distraction, so to speak, and is entertaining when they're being interviewed for those 30 seconds or however long it's going to be, that'll be fine. Maybe you get 1 or 2 little quick not tips, but rather just something that's entertaining. But if it's just someone that's going to give a couple of words just to get the microphone out of their face so they could play their shot, then it's not worth it to do it.
Well, we want to know from you, do you like that? Do you like having these guys in the middle of a round be asked questions or not when they are working, really, right? We're going to, what's that?
I'm going to go back a step there to the parent question we asked James. We got a question from Mark Russo down in, I think is he in Washington, D.C. or Maryland? Is he at?
I think he's in Maryland, isn't he?
Yep,
Yeah.
Maryland.
Yeah.
So, James, do you partner up with parents when you have a student who struggles in the classroom? In other words, being in the middle of that and managing both sides. Thanks so much. Thanks for the question, Mark.
Mark, that's a great question. Actually, with my students that are juniors, I do get involved, but I think I'm lucky in that a lot of my students are long-term students of mine. I was just talking with one of the kids that I teach. She was asking me if she's the longest term student that I have, which is going on 9.5 years now. So yeah, I think because in a way I am close to the families, I do get involved. And I will, if I notice that there's something going on in the lesson that's a little unusual, maybe their attention is a little bit off, I will ask the parent, is there something going on at school? Is this an issue that seems to be cropping up that you're noticing either when you're talking to the school teachers or in the parent-teacher conferences? And if that's the case, then I think we're teaching a life skill here through golf. So a lot of times I'll cross-reference school in terms of what they're working on. And I think that's important. I mean, we talk all the time about cross-referencing other sports. Well, I'll also cross-reference other activities in their daily lifestyles.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's switch back over here to everybody. I think it's time for a weather check. What do you think here, Mr. Hellman? Weather check.
Still minus 12 and freezing.
Still minus 12 and freezing here, Celsius. Yes. I believe it's close to 0 here. Very, very cold.
I'm sweating.
You're sweating. 35 degrees Celsius.
Sweat.
Here in
You're
Sydney,
#1.
Australia, my friend. I think it just absolutely blows my mind that all of us can get together like this and share our time with all of you guys and you guys getting involved in this. And we really want to make it golf's most interactive show, online show. Just want you guys to make some comments and let us know you're out there. Where are you from? And we'd love to talk to you guys for sure. If you did not hear earlier, we are giving away Titleist golf balls tonight. We're giving away some Pro V1s out here, and the way in which you can win these are prototype golf balls, by the way. The way in which you can win these is to type in the word Titleist into the comments, and after the show, we're going to send you a message in Facebook Messenger. You have to opt in and become a friend of the show, and then you'll be entered into the contest to win some golf balls. So thanks so much to Titleist for that. I think it's time to get in to Fix My Swing. What do you think, gents?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, let's get it going. All right, we're going to get over here and do some of this and switch this over. There we go.
Just while Mike's loading that up, seeing I played golf myself on Saturday, I might have to submit my own swing after that awful effort.
Get this rolling here.
How many rounds is that now?
I'm still 600 behind you, but that's one for 2019, which is the same as my total effort for 2018 already. So I'm already miles ahead.
I played a few holes on the simulator. Does that count?
Sure.
Sure, it counts.
It's a step in the right direction.
Sure, it counts. You betcha. Okay, let's see if this is going to work for us tonight. I think it will. There we go. Awesome. Very cool. By the way, the power for Fix My Swing comes from Coach Now. Excited about our partnership with them. Thanks so much for powering it tonight. Excited about it. We have a young lady from Washington State who has sent in her swing, Stacy Brown. Hi, Stacy. If you're on right now, please let us know in the comments. Love to hear from you. She says here that I am an avid player and desire to improve my game through practice and commitment to the game, which is awesome. Those are the people that we like to coach, right, guys? She says, I play to a 12 index and compete with my friends and peers. And she plays for a bunch of different reasons, but most importantly, because the game has no age limits and my passion grows more each and every year. That is awesome. So what we're going to do here is we've got Coach Now hooked up, and we're going to go through a swing, and then all of us are going to comment about it. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I saw in here. We're going to put up some plane lines in here for you, Stacy. Have they signed from Stacy yet, Brent?
No, it hasn't come through yet.
Not yet? Okay. So we're going to put up some plane lines here, and typically what we'd like to see in the backswing is that coming about halfway back where the club head is somewhere in the middle of your hands. And what's going to end up happening here is that the golf club gets taken back a little bit too far around you, and then you are going to come over the top of it like this and have a little path from out to in when you hit your shots. Now, we're going to switch over to the face-on view here in a second. We're going to talk about why this is happening to you, but overall, she hits it good. She hits it. She sent me a note. She hits it like 180 yards off the tee. Really good, but we want to add more power, right, guys? So
sounds good.
Let's go into here, and we're going to go into the face-on view here of this. And let's talk about a couple of things that I saw. Number one is in the backswing, we put a little line on your hip there, and what we like to see in the backswing is that when we load up, we don't get outside of that hip right there. We want to stay inside the hip. So a little bit more centered of the backswing, Stacy, is definitely going to help you. Now, because of this, and we're moving way over to the right too much, we end up trying to have to reach the ball. And because in our backswing, I noticed that if you look right here and we zoom in here, that the right arm doesn't have a lot of space between the side of your body and the right arm, so the golf club doesn't go out enough. It goes too far behind you too fast. So if we can get that golf club out a little bit, get a little bit of a window right in here, that is definitely going to help you start to get the golf club coming down more of an inside out path. Now, because it's so close to you, we have to reach out here and come over the top of it like that. But that's really the basis of it. I think working on the takeaway is going to be a huge step, and then also trying not to slide in our backswing, try and keep our body up there. So what do you think, gents?
I would jump in quickly, and I think that slide, I see that quite common in female golfers, and possibly a concept issue. Possibly someone's told her at some stage to keep her head still, and that's the only way she can transfer her weight to the back foot is by sliding. So I'm a fan of not trying to restrict the way the head moves on the backswing. With a good pivot, you can keep that bottom half fairly stable and get a good load up into that right side. So there's possibly a concept issue there of trying to keep that head still.
Mm-hmm. Anybody
But
else?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in there. I understand she's is into fitness as well, right?
Yes, she is. Yes.
I would ask her about any hip mobility issues she has first, and obviously screen her before we did anything. But I would want her to get into her right hip a little deeper, and sort of get on top of that right leg a little bit more versus swaying off it to the right. So she's got some lateral movement there. I would want to know why she has a lateral movement, if it's a limitation thing, or again, going back to what Brent said, maybe a concept thing is that's just sort of how she tries to create power. And kudos on the boot spikes. Those things look really awesome. I've never seen those before. So awesome fashion statement there.
Absolutely. No, Stacy, we were talking about it. Stacy, I don't see much snow on the ground, Washington State, right, James?
No. Not at all. Well, I think if you look at the side-on view there, like for me, working a lot with Body Track right from the start for a few years now, a lot of my focus tends to go on what people are doing through the ground with their feet. And what I see, or what I think is going on here, is that as she's setting up, it looks like she's back on her heels. Mm-hmm. And so what happens for some golfers is when they're back on the heels, that will tend to drag the club inside fairly early in the takeaway. And the shoulders, you can see how she kind of like sits back a little bit there. Mm-hmm. And so all of that is more a response to being on the heels and being dynamic at the same time in your motion. So it's all about proprioception, just staying balanced there. So for me, it would be more maybe putting, let's say, an alignment stick under her feet through the middle of her feet, the balls of the feet. Mm-hmm. And as she's setting up there, does she feel like she's back on her heels? Does she feel like she's on her toes, or exactly right where that line is? Or does she feel like she's pushing straight down into the ground, right where that stick would be right there? And if that's the case, being like that, where she feels like the balls of her feet are pushing down on that green line, so that when she does take her backswing, she feels that she's back on her trail heel, so to speak, and lead toe. So there's more of a sort of a rotary motion this way, like that, with what she feels like she's doing. And so that might allow her to, instead of sucking the club inside, be able to take the club a little bit more up in the takeaway.
Absolutely. What do you think, Frank?
I see some early extension there. She's real tall at impact, and she doesn't have much forward tilt. So those are probably areas I would work with her on, is, trying to keep her more in a seated position at impact with a little more forward tilt instead of having that early extension.
Yeah, she comes away from the wall right there, right? So she could probably sit closer onto the wall and do a lot of work in hip mobility, like Jason was saying. This could help for sure, right?
Yeah. Well, you can see how tall she is right there at impact.
Mhm.
You know, there's very little forward tilt.
Yeah, maybe a little foot flare on the left foot, and also find out what's going on with left hip too, to teach her how to learn how to rotate with her hips and upper body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, with the foot flare, no question about it.
Yeah, not a lot of opening up there, is there?
No, there's not much going on. That's why I would check the hip mobility first before we did anything.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree. Just continuing with being back on the heel. So sometimes what happens, if it turns out she checks out okay with her hip mobility, that she's actually pretty good with that, then definitely looking at it in terms of, is she back on her heels? Because what she might be doing here is moving forward to the toes for balance.
Mhm.
And that happens. I see that a lot, for instance, with juniors, like tell them they're doing a Michael Jackson, and just being a little bit more rotary, as I was talking about. But that all comes into just actually being there with her and seeing if she can do this, and just doing some quick tests on her, assessments.
What do you think, Brent?
Yep, they're all great comments, all certainly down the right path. I think I don't see any issue with any of those ideas. I think she's got plenty to go away and work on now.
Yeah, she does. She's good. She can do it. It'll be a lot of fun too, for sure. Any of you guys out there that have some comments that want to help Stacy with her game, feel free to go ahead and leave them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys, for sure, and we'll put them up there. Okay, gents, what is up next? Next up is going to be MFG University. So let's see if we can get it over here. We'll get this here. And we're going to put up. Okay, golf is a side-on game, right? You stand to the side of it. You don't stand on top of the target line when you hit golf shots. This is the target line down here with a golf ball. So when we hit shots like this, we need the golf club to be coming down and then hitting the ball and then going back to the left of the target line. And a lot of times I see players that try to make the golf club go at the target. So it ends up kind of looking like this and like this. Well, we need that golf club to be going around, right? And have my left elbow fold up and point towards the ground and make it go around us when we hit shots. That way we can hit them up in the air good. When we try and push the club into the ball, that causes a lot of problems. We can hit it everywhere.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, let's see here. I think it's time now for a fun little segment that we're going to have on here called Fay's Useless Knowledge. Yes, this was inspired by Mrs. Fay. She says I'm full of useless knowledge, which is pretty cool. And I thought it would be fun to talk about that kind of stuff. So here's our little segment, Fay's Useless Knowledge. Okay, the average person falls asleep in 7 minutes. Frank, do you fall asleep in 7 minutes?
Never.
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 Anybody in here fall asleep in 7 minutes?
Depends how many beers I've had.
It depends upon how many beers. Interesting. Anybody out there that has trouble sleeping? I'm sure that definitely happens
Definitely.
for sure.
I'm usually out in less than 7 minutes.
Out in less than 7 minutes.
You're lucky.
Yes, the average person falls asleep in 7 minutes. I can't believe it. Mike says he says I don't fall asleep in 7 minutes. I that's hard to believe, but there is some facts out there that they know that it's 7 minutes. I can't believe it. But we'll see. What do you guys do to get to sleep faster? That's what I want to know. I want to know from everybody out there. What do you do to get to sleep faster?
Tylenol PM.
Tylenol PM. Huh? Okay.
I remember on Facebook I saw something a few years ago about doing these breathing exercises, and I thought, what a joke. And I just tried it one night and I was out like a light, so I started doing that ever since then.
I remember
helps,
taking
huh?
a picture of James Hong at the PGA show sleeping in a chair at the condo one time.
Yeah.
I think I saw that.
That's what it looked like right there.
That brings up a great question for everyone. Have you ever fallen asleep in a place that you're not supposed to? That's what I want to know.
In a final exam.
In a final exam, not good. Not good. Not good. Let's see here. Next up, the ball on the top of a flagpole is called a truck. I never knew that. Interesting. Very interesting. If you knew that, let us know you knew that, because that would be wonderful if you did. Another fun fact is Murphy's oil soap is the chemical most often used to clean elephants. In case you ever clean an elephant, you know what to use now.
So that's why I got that in my shower.
That's right. That's right. Winston Churchill was born in a ladies' room during a dance. Interesting. Very interesting. Now you see why Mrs. Fay says I'm full of useless knowledge. Mel Blanc, the voice of Bugs Bunny, was allergic to carrots. I just think that's funny. I don't know why I do. I know that James loves Bugs Bunny, right? There he goes. I knew he would do.
Pig. Sorry.
That would be
was
Porky Pig.
Yeah, it is. It is Porky Pig.
Oh.
Oh, Lord. And a pregnant goldfish is called a twit, in case you want to know. Just in case you want to know if you have that kind of stuff. If you want to know what a twit was, I never knew that. They also,
I thought it was called a rower.
the other one. What is the back of the elbow? Jason called? What is that called?
I have no idea.
I forget. If you guys know what the back of your elbow is called, that skin on the back of your elbow, let me know, because somebody told me that once, and I can't believe it. Anyway, next up, what we're going to do is talk about full contact Nordic golf. All the comedy is about over, folks, right after this. This was a video that we made a long time ago. I'm going to have to pull it up here. And it is a ton of fun. So enjoy full contact Nordic golf.
Hi all, and welcome to beautiful Boyne Mountain, located in Boyne Falls, Michigan. We're at the ski slopes today, and obviously you can see it's a beautiful bluebird day. My name's Casey.
And my name's Mike, and this is our version of full contact Nordic golf.
As you can see by the jerseys we're wearing, it's hockey season and it's playoff time.
Go Wings, baby.
And but to protest winter, Mike and I decided that we're gonna slap on the clubs and go play a few holes. Hope you can join us.
Come on along. So this wouldn't be big league golf if we didn't have a little bit of golf instruction attached to it. So we're going to talk about how to hit a bunker shot in the wintertime. First thing is you want to make sure that you have a nice level surface. So we want to make sure that we rake the snow a little bit, stuff like that. Next thing we want to talk about is bounce on your wedge. We've talked about that before in some of our other videos, but when you have snow and ice, you want to make sure that you have no bounce on your club. Otherwise, you're going to bounce it into it and the ball's going to go flying up the mountain like that. Anything else you want to add, Case?
Well, there's a couple things that are very important about Nordic golf. First of all, your footwear. Make sure your feet are warm and your day will be great. Second of all, when you're hitting this shot, you got to get your weight slightly into the left side, all right, so your body stays nice and calm, and that way when you move through, you'll go nice and thin, pick the ball.
So we're going to demonstrate one of these shots.
Again, Mike will put his weight slightly into the left side, bracing his lower body, footwear very appropriate. You missed.
That was a little bit fat of a shot, and now I'm covered in snow. So that's why it's very important to have a towel with you so that you can wipe your face off. Should we try that again?
Now Mike will appropriately put his weight to the left side.
Oh, it's perfect.
Oh.
Now, one more thing that we didn't talk about, Case, is the fact that the greens at this time of year are slightly firm.
Just a little bit, probably more slippery than fast. So you do have to play that into your game a little bit.
You have to play a little bit shorter, allow the run up to the hole, and you'll be all good. So we're here next to the green, very hard putting surface right now. And Case is going to try and hit a little chip shot and see how far she runs. So once again, weight far forward, hands ahead of the golf ball, always ahead of the ball before you make impact, and we'll see how it goes.
That's better than I do on grass, Mike.
Wow, you should practice more often out here.
Okay, so here we get to the, we'll call it a white instead of green. And a couple things you got to remember in full contact Nordic golf. The green, or the whites, I'm sorry, might be a little bumpier, a little slower. And if we actually had a Zamboni out here, it would definitely help us out a lot. Key here is to make sure you stay really solid, play the bumps into the snow cup.
And don't be distracted by the other skiers. Oh, that was perfect.
Not bad.
How'd that not go in? Now we're going to work on a little short bunker shot. I'm going to try and get the ball way up in the air here. A couple things about what you use here. If you notice, we haven't talked about our pink balls. You need a colored ball, otherwise you might lose your balls. The other thing is that when you're trying to hit a bunker shot, let's say to that post over there, you got to make sure that you play the ball far enough forward in your stance to get it up over these little hills here at the mountain. So let's try and practice that. What do you think, Case?
Well, I think there's also one thing before Mike hits the shot. Very, very important that you keep your grooves free of ice and debris.
I concur. Oh, I think that one was a good one. What do you think?
That was brilliant. The cool thing about full contact Nordic golf, you don't use golf carts. They don't move so good in the snow, but we've got these great things called chairlifts.
Right next to you.
First tee. Here we go.
We'll see you up there.
Well, we made it to the top. Time to go to the first tee. I don't think that big math's going to do us much, so we're just going to have to feel our way through this. But come on out. Let's rip one.
Okay, here we are playing a par 4, 447 yards, and Casey's on the tee. Quiet, please. Well, he absolutely pounded that one. Right past the snowmaker, and That's perfect, right in the middle.
Well, here we are about 170 yards out. Mike's got a second shot. Our compliments to the superintendent. The slopes are groomed perfectly. Always nice to get a good line in the wintertime. Quiet, please. Oh, I think you can like that one, Mike.
Spin. Oh, it's perfect.
On behalf of Mike, again, my name is Casey. We want to thank you for joining us during our round of full contact Nordic golf. If you do have any questions about your golf swing, feel free to get a hold of us at lessons@bigleaguegolf.com. Thanks. I'll see you later.
Oh boy, was
Happy
that
to
a
hit my
long
second
time ago?
shot. Boy, I hope they have some hot chocolate at the turn.
Yes, too much fun. Too much fun. Full contact Nordic golf.
Spin.
Yes, looking for some spin for sure. My good friend Casey Powers there. Yes, the head professional at Boyne Mountain and I made that forever ago. Very cool stuff. So anyway, just wanted to show you. Having a little bit of fun up here in the snow. I think it's time for Mr. Hellman. What do you think, guys?
I'm ready to go.
Are you ready to roll, my friend? Okay, I think it is time for Hellman's Hot 5. The world according to Hellman. Let's see here. Yes, look at that guy. Oh, yeah. He's looking good.
He's a good-looking guy.
He is a good-looking guy. Yes, he is.
You guys are too kind.
Absolutely. Okay, first things first. We have a video we want to play, right, Jay? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we're gonna check this swing out.
Yeah, let's see if we could check this swing out. Let's see if your swing is as good as this swing. Let's take a look here.
I think he's going to have a little issue with the dress code. Look at that.
Look at that. That's perfect right there. Look at that. No changes there. Some extension and everything.
He's got a little shaft layoff.
Yeah. Pulling the chain down like Sergio there. I don't know if I don't know if Brian Menzel would like that much handle drag though.
Is your swing this good? Very, very cool. Okay, next up, Jake. Go ahead.
On to number 2, putts made by time of day. This is the first time I've ever seen this particular stat developed. I saw it on Facebook through a mutual friend, Adam Harrell, who's down in Virginia, and he got it from a gentleman named Lou Stanger. Pretty cool stat. You got the image there, Mike, to pop up? Or
I don't. Nope.
Okay. It was really interesting to view some of the stats in putts made in the morning, putts made in the afternoon, and sort of the relativity to both of those things. I hope maybe we'll see it. I know Mark Brody's going to be at the PGA show. Maybe that I don't know if he has any of those stats. I've never seen it before, so it was just a cool thing, cool find on Facebook this past week.
Didn't it basically talk about that you have a better probability of making more putts earlier in the day? Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how the probabilities went that way. We want to know from you guys, do you guys putt better early in the morning, or do you putt better late at night? But according to the research, it says that you don't putt very good at 5 o'clock at night.
No.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, Jay.
Let's move over to number 3 in the hot 5, which is have you ever taken a putting lesson? Anyone ever taken a putting lesson? I know everyone always, at least as an instructor, and I can probably speak for the other 4 gentlemen on the panel, that everyone's putting is the best part of their game when they show up and tell you that. So, which is when you actually ask them how many putts per round they have, it's generally much higher than we like to see it. But there is a new device that I'm actually going to invest in for my coaching called Capto. A friend of mine, Nick Starchuk, will be doing a presentation at the Open Forum on Tuesday in the PGA at the PGA show in Open Forum. So look forward to that. I know, James, you already have it, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm getting used to it. It's giving me a lot of feedback, a lot of info. So I'm very pleasantly surprised. It's probably the first putting gizmo, so to speak, that I've actually taken and used it to extent, a lot, basically, with my kids, with my adults as well.
Yeah, it's got 30 different parameters to it. It does it's 3D as well.
Yeah.
Very simple to use versus some of the other models that are out there that fix the T on there for the SAM Putt Lab and stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting and using that in 2019.
What do these machines help the regular player do better, guys?
Well, James, you want to go ahead with that? You know some of the parameters better than me, probably, because I don't have it yet. But
yeah, I think it's more for, I think from what I've been using it for is just getting a sense of what my students are doing. So I'm not really telling them a lot in terms of what they see on the screen. I may not even be showing them the screen, but at least I'm getting the info. But what I think it's really helpful for them is getting a sense of their tempo in terms of their stroke, giving them some more information, more feedback in that end.
Yeah, tempo is pretty important, right?
Yep.
Sure, a good measuring device. Measure, don't guess. Great for the instructors, and then we can give the feedback to the students through the means that the means or explanation that are required for them.
I think the other thing that I found out, especially with the juniors that I teach that are pretty competitive, is that they find out that their technique is actually a lot better than they thought, and they're very surprised when they see it. I mean, the reaction they get sometimes when I tell them is they think did you set it up correctly? Is it broken? Ha ha ha. But what we find out is that we can pinpoint different issues in terms of their putting. So as I mentioned, their stroke might actually be pretty good, but it turns out that their start line is really poor, or their face control is poor with their putter. So that's why their start line becomes inconsistent. So we really are able to pinpoint a lot of issues very quickly.
It's very, very cool. All good stuff with technology. Really good. Okay, last but not least here. Should you leave the pin in? That was a big topic this week, especially with the rules of golf, right, Frank?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I saw a couple of videos out there this week that were, a little bit annoying. I thought on my end of things, people, setting up their stimp meter and their, stimp meters and ramps and stuff from 2 feet away, and putting it at the top of the stimp meter from 2 feet. I mean, you're not going to hit it 3 times as hard from 2 feet with the pin in, so it's a bit unrealistic. So I would like to see proper capture speed when people were doing those tests. I'm sure we're going to see some really detailed test come out soon. That has different pins, different balls being used, something along those lines, and then hopefully they have the appropriate capture speed for the drills or tests that they're doing. So it's all relative And then hopefully there's actually a human behind that test, not, rolling a ball off a ramp, with some open or closure rate or path deviation or something along those lines. Because when we impart the human element of things, there's going to be different forces applied to the golf ball.
Frank, I was just thinking, this might lead to like standardized flag sticks, right?
Well, it could. I mean, that's a possibility down the road.
Mm-hmm. Now, would that just be at a tour level, do you think, or?
Yeah, I really think, Jason, that would just be a tour level or high level play. Let's put it that way.
So USGA events or?
Yes, USGA events, PGA Tour events, LPGA events.
Yeah, all amateur, all official
competition.
amateur events, right?
Yes.
So the guys are playing golf down there, Brent. Anybody putting with the flag in?
I was curious. I tried it when I played this weekend, and I had real trouble the closer I got with getting my putter aim right and judging speed and pace. I don't know whether it was because the flag was in or was because I hadn't played for 12 months. But I had some problems with that. I know just on Twitter and a few other things, there's a heap of guys that are doing it, and I think it's a good thing for me to do it, but I had trouble early on trying to get the putter aimed properly. I was curious on everyone's thoughts out there, whether they're doing it or whether they're having trouble aiming, and your thoughts as well.
Hey, I got a question for one of our viewers there, Gerard. He's an aim point instructor. Does that affect anything in regards to aim point? If you could chime in there.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, this is a big deal. It changes the ball game here with the flag stick for sure. Who else is online here? Jay, who else is on right now? We can do some call outs too.
Not sure. Scroll back up here.
Stan and Mark and
Stan and
Mike.
Mark were on there.
Twitter's quiet too, Mike, so they can jump in Twitter and use the hashtag MFG Show.
Todd Hewley just joined in.
How you doing, Todd? Good to see you, my friend. Okay, we ready to roll?
Little shout out for my friend Bobby Brown, if he's still watching. Bobby was named the new head professional at North Hempstead Country Club up the road from me.
Nice.
Great guy. I've known him since he was a young boy, working here at Harbor Links. So very happy, very proud of him that he got the job.
Oh, congrats, Bobby. That's awesome. Todd says, leave it in. Interesting. Leave it in. Good to see you too, my friend. That's awesome. Leave it in.
One last thing in the Hot 5, Mike. And then we can move on to your next,
go ahead.
Next segment, right?
Yep.
2018 World Stats. I found them in a magazine actually today. Do you have that little clip that I sent over to you, or a little JPEG, or?
I don't know.
No. That's okay.
Let me see.
I can rhyme them off here. I got them typed out in my notes. World number 1, Justin Rose. Yeah, I did message it over to you there. There it is, right there.
Let me see if I can get it on real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So Justin was kind of all over the map in these stats, and you'll see them when he pops it in here. 14th off the tee, 29th in approach to the green, 7th around the green, and 17th in putting, and then 4th in tee to green. So the two best stats he was in, two stats he was best at were tee to green and around the green, 4th and 7th. And he was 17th in putting, which you think world number 1 would probably be right up there in at least the top 3 or 4 for putting. So sometimes stats can skew. I guess if we're looking at world number 1, you'd think it'd be 1-1-1-1-1, right? But he's almost 30th in approach to the green, top 30. I guess if you want to look at it, he's top 25 and all the rest. but 17th in putting seems kind of high for world number 1. Anybody got any ideas on those stats? What do you think? Misleading? Interesting? Stats aren't super exciting, but if you get the number one player in the world that's 17th in putt, and you think, okay, is putting the most important thing in the game?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot to learn from that, right?
Sure.
He's not number 1 at everything. He does everything pretty good, but he isn't the best in it. And that stands to reason too. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this off for a second here and bring everybody else on. It stands to reason too that I think it's important to become good in golf in one thing and then build yourself up from there. Don't you think, you guys? If you're a great putter, then you find out what deficiencies you have in your game, and it doesn't matter what level of player you are. If you do that, you become really good at golf, and that stat really showed that. What do you think, guys?
Well, I think a lot of people, when we talk about practice, we're talking about practice. Yeah, we're talking about practice.
Right.
They practice all their strengths. So I see it day in, day out. I'm sure you guys do. They sit up 5 yards off the chipping green and chip a nice, beautiful pattern of shots to 1 foot. Then they go to 7 or 8 yards off and they hit it to 2 feet and they go, "Wow, I'm an awesome chipper." And then when they get to 15 yards, they miss the green sometimes.
Right.
Or are hitting it to 15 and 20 feet. And then when they get further back, so they never practice the weaknesses.
Right.
So we wonder why people don't get better all the time, because they don't know how to practice effectively or properly, and they just practice the things that they're good at. And why does that happen? Because they want to feel good about themselves out there when they're practicing on the range. Well, I'm really good today. Okay, yeah, but you're only good at the one thing all the time. So they'll never get good at 15-yard pitches or 25-yard pitches, and that's sort of where they lack in building those skill sets. And same with putting too. I'm always on the chipping green or putting green doing coaching sessions, and there's no one there. My putting green is 20,000 square feet. My chipping green is 12,000 square feet in that area. So why are we the only people over there and everyone else is on the range? And people wonder why they can't score. So.
Right. That's why I wanted to bring that up, because you can't become really good at golf in just one thing. You gotta take all those things and bring them up like this, right? And that's what we try and do. What do you guys think?
Totally agree with that. I mean, sometimes I'll even set up practice schedules for my students on a daily basis, and typically I put a lot of emphasis on the short game. I want my better players to practice 60 to 70% of their time just on the short game, putting, chipping, pitching, things of that nature. I just find that a lot of my players don't know how to practice, and I think part of my job is helping them to structure a good practice program. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. I have a weekly Monday through Sunday practice schedule that I send to all people on coaching programs, so that they have something to go by, whether that's depending on the level they're at, it's an elite level junior or tour professional. I still send them a detailed outline of what's going on Tuesday, what's going on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Play golf on Saturday and Sunday. So those things are extremely important for them to be able to have functional practices.
Yeah, you're right, Todd. They're probably on the range beating drivers too.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that.
Yeah.
Beat driver all day.
I know, like with the supervised practices that I run throughout the course of the season, at least 50 to 75% of the practice stations all have some relevance to short game. And on a couple of days where I set up the practices to be out on the golf course, I'll let them play the first hole basically just from tee to green but then set something up on the second hole where maybe it's, as Jason was saying, 25 yards from the hole, and you got to get this in the hole in 3 shots or better, or just depending on the skill level of the player that's in the practice. It might be from 25 yards saying it's can you get it in the hole in 5 shots or better, but just showing them that how important it is to score 50 yards, 75 yards, 25 yards, 25 feet even. But definitely part of everything that I structure has to have something to do with scoring from a short distance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So going back to what you said,
that's
Mike,
juniors as well as adults.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to what you said, Mike, there about building skills. So I refer to it like this: if it's a weakness, we want to make it a strength. Make it average. Sorry, strength. So weakness, average, strength, and if you can get up to the tour level and own that skill, then great. So there's like building blocks of steps to get to. We don't just go from making it a weakness to all of a sudden like you're amazing at it. So there's incremental progress along the way, and once they understand that concept, and then they're not going to own that skill overnight, and it might take 3 months for them to get that and own that shot, then at least they understand the concept and the length of time that it might take for them to get it. So skill building is not done in over 1 week. They might get the concept and get it a few times while they're with the coach and instructor, and then can they do it on their own, in practice, and then can they do it on the golf course in a recreational round, and then can they, once they own it, do it in a tournament, right? So that's kind of that's the way things have to be developed. And I think a lot of people have the thought process that, oh no, I can do it in practice, so I'm going to do it under pressure in an event, and then bad things happen, and you look back on the outcome of the event and find out what the problem was and why did you make a 9 on that hole, right? Oh, because I tried to hit a flop shot and I sculled it over the green, and then I chipped it on and then I 3-jacked. So they blame it on the putting being a 3-putt, when really it was the trying the flop shot in a bad situation was the actual problem. But it's blamed on something else because it's easier to blame that than you not choosing the right shot. So really it was the decision to hit the wrong shot in that situation that was the cause of the whole thing.
And that comes right down to mental toughness. Any of you guys out there go through that kind of situation and have to be mentally tough in order to lower your scores, let us know. Let us know what you have done to be mentally tough to try and build your game up, and what do you do? Being able to recognize and seeing a great coach to work on those faults that you guys have is so important, right? You have to go get some lessons, go out there, find out what you need to work on, and then work on those deficiencies. That's how you get better at golf, right?
Sorry, Mike, can I just jump in here really quickly?
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a comment come up from Todd about a fear of failure stops a student from practicing even with the game plan. I think if a player's bad at something, you need to set those realistic targets so they see some success when they're coming through that practice, as opposed to jumping, as they said, jumping from 25 handicap standard to tool level standard. If you can set realistic goals for those type of players, they hopefully won't have that fear of failure. They'll see some success. They'll see the progress coming through. So I think that's important as well.
Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah, just to set them a benchmark to try and get to the next level. Whether it's, they pitch the ball from 25 yards to from 30 feet. I have basically a graduation process that I get students to go through where it's, okay, you're going to try and hit it to 30 feet, 10 balls. Then we're going to try and hit it to 25 feet, but you can't miss outside 30 feet. And then you're going to go to 25 feet, or 20 feet, but you can't miss outside 25 feet. So you're sort of graduating all the way up.
Awesome. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great.
And then all the way back down from the hole. So you're trying to chip it in the hole, but you don't want to miss it outside 3 feet. So just work your way back and basically a circle around the hole if you're working on that pitching or chipping drill.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Okay, if you guys weren't on earlier, I'm going to put a note right now in the comments here. Our contest for tonight is Titleist Prototype Golf Balls. Type the word Titleist in the comments to win golf balls. And what we will do after the show is send you a request inside of Messenger to become a friend of the show. And that will enable you to win. So type the word Titleist in there. We'll send you a messenger request, and hopefully you guys win. Very cool. Thanks so much to Titleist for putting that on. All right, Mr. Frank, are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready, Michael.
All right, let's switch you over.
So we're going to talk a little bit about a ball accidentally moved in trying to find it or identify it. Under the previous rule, it was kind of strange where other players in stroke play and your opponent in match play could help you search for the ball, and if they accidentally moved it, they weren't penalized. But if you accidentally moved it in the search, you were penalized. Under the new rules now, if a player accidentally moves his or her ball while searching for it, the player gets no penalty for causing it to move, and the ball is always replaced. If the exact spot isn't known, what they have to do is try to approximate where it was, and the ball is always going to be replaced as closely as you can estimate to the original spot. This also includes if the ball was on, under, or against anything attached, natural, or man-made objects, which the ball may have come to rest under or against. And the reasons for these changes, one of the fundamental principles of golf is to play the ball as it lies. And we all know that as we're searching for a ball, sometimes you're going to have to probe grass, sometimes you're going to have to probe bushes, sometimes you're going to have to disturb things that may cause a ball to accidentally move, and in my opinion, you really shouldn't be penalized for that. So one of the things that they've done for this year's rules is now there's no penalty if you accidentally move the ball while you were trying to search or identify it. So that's the rule we're covering for today.
Well, gents, what do you think about that? Seven. 4. No penalty while searching for a golf ball now.
I will definitely remember that. So step on it by accident. Happened many times.
Yes.
So it's not just in a hazard, right? So it's kind of everywhere, which is totally different.
What was funny under the previous rule too is, sometimes you would see the actual player hang back and allow everybody else to look for the ball because they knew if they accidentally moved it, they were going to get penalized, but the other players weren't. So it's just more of an equitable thing now.
You're right, because a lot of people wouldn't go search for their balls at all, right? Any of you out there want to leave a comment that you didn't want to go find it? Right? I mean, how many people have said, well, I don't really want to go find that?
We actually had that happen, Mike, at the Tournament of Champions a couple of years ago. Player didn't want to go in and look for his ball.
And what'd you do?
We went in and helped him look for the ball.
Okay.
And we were able to find it and identify it. And he had to play that shot.
Oh boy. Well, this rule helps. I think a lot of these rules are really going to help everybody play. Number one, have a lot more fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And play faster and things like that. Every week we're going to go through one or two of the new rules changes, and kind of talk to you guys about them and ask you questions if you have any questions at all for Frank. He's our PGA rules official here in Michigan. He's a PGA master professional, and we're going to have a segment on the rules probably every week. Because some are so different from what we've played before that we're going to have to get accustomed to learning a whole new game, a lot of us. And then also for the, those of you parents teaching your kids and things like that, you got to be able to know this stuff so you can teach them right from wrong. So, it's important that we know the stuff and go over it. Upcoming shows, we're going to be giving away a player's edition of the rules book, right, Frank?
Yes, correct.
And
that's one of the gifts we'll be giving away.
Yep, we'll be doing that. Next week is the PGA show, so we won't be here in the studio doing this stuff, but I know that Mr. Hellman and I, and perhaps maybe we can wrangle Mr. Hong in to do a little Facebook Live during our regular scheduled time. Look at that big smile. I like it. Do our regular scheduled time next Sunday night, live from Orlando. But we'll talk about everything going on at the show, what we're seeing, things like that, the new fun things. Keep you up to date. Plus, we'll be making posts on Facebook and all over social media where we're going. Jason and I will be going to the National PGA Teaching and Coaching Summit. So we're going to go learn a whole bunch and try and help you guys play better golf. So do we have any more questions at all? Any more comments? Anything going on Twitter, Brent?
No, it's been quiet on Twitter.
Quiet on Twitter.
No hashtags there. So MFG Show, guys, is a hashtag.
Yeah, that's what we're using on Twitter. If you guys want to talk about the show, if you want to send in questions, we're always looking at it all the time. Everyone that's on here, I see Mr. Don Waite is on. I see the request for Titleist NXT Soft. Fantastic. Fortunately, we're giving away Pro Vs tonight, unfortunately, Don, but that's okay. If you win, that would be great. Type in, if you guys want to win our giveaway for Pro V1s, type in the word Titleist into the comments, and you will have the opportunity to win. That will hook you in to be a friend of the show and put you on our messenger list. And reply to that, and it's double opt-in, and you guys will be able to have the opportunity to win a bunch of different contests that we have got going on. Soon, our sponsor, Tifosi, will be giving away a bunch of stuff, and we have a whole bunch of other people that want to participate in what we're doing. We are so happy that you're on here with us. We are trying to build a community of golfers around the most interactive golf show online. So if you want to spread the word, type in here, one of your friends in there, tag a friend, let them know what we're doing. This is a brand new show. Last week was our first show if you want to catch it inside of our page. So anything else, gentlemen, before we get rolling?
I'm all good.
All
yeah,
good?
I'm good too.
I'm good here. Great to see you, Honger. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, it's great seeing you, James.
Yep.
Nice to see you guys again. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, James, thank you so much for taking some time with us. It was awesome having you, my friend. Very cool
Going back
stuff.
to Legos now.
Going back to putting together Legos. He has a huge collection of Legos. We know a lot of you guys don't watch this live. You watch it on the replay. So thanks so much for watching, spreading the word about what we're doing, growing the game of golf, helping you guys play better. So very cool stuff. And have a super night. Stay warm, everybody, here in America's summer golf capital.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mike Fay Golf Show.
This has been a Mike Fay Golf production.
Follow us today on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are Mike Fay Golf, Team MFG.